Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Cannabis Events Talk Show, hosted by eventhi. And I am your co-host, Adelia Carrillo. Now, for those that are new here and tuning in for the first time, the Cannabis Events Talk Show covers all about cannabis events, experiences, and tourism. We keep you updated on the hottest topics from current news, trends, and bringing in our interviews with event guests each week, to marketing tips and much more. Now, the lineup of the show is you will get to meet our special guest of the week as we do an interview with this person. Then we're going to cover some industry news together. And then we will close out with some industry updates. And of course, that weekly event highlight of the highlight event of the week. There we go. Say it a little better. Now let's get to the good part. So I am extremely excited to introduce you to this week's co-host, Judi Nelson. Now, Judi is the owner and operator of Soul Spirit Retreats, a glamping bed and breakfast and retreat space in Trinity County, California. She and her husband, Walter Wood, own and operate their licensed farm, Soul Spirit Farm, on the same property. They are both passionate earth stewards and sustainable living enthusiasts, and created the farm and retreat space so people can come and see regenerative farming, permaculture practices, natural building, and animal care in action, while also tasting the food and the flower grown on site, and to be inspired to find ways to make sustainable choices in your own life. Now, Judi also loves hosting people on the farm and showing off the incredible natural beauty and authentic cannabis culture of the Emerald Triangle. She is the founder of the Emerald Triangle Reveal Tour and the Canamom Retreat. Welcome, Judi. Thank you for joining us today.
Hi, Adelia. Thanks for having me.
I just loved, when you sent me your bio, it was just all the things that, I don't have a green thumb. I'm not a farmer, but it's all the things I wish I could be. So I get to live vicariously through all of you that I just look up to. Like, really, it is. Everybody in NorCal, you guys are the heart, I feel. And I just commend you for everything you've done. So thank you again for joining us.
That means a lot.
I shared a bit about your background, but let's dive a bit more into you. So not only do you produce and host events and retreats, but again, you are also a farmer. Can you share more about your history with cannabis and how that all led to you also producing these cannabis events and retreats?
Sure. Yeah. So I first fell in love with cannabis back in my days as a traveling deadhead on Grateful Dead tour. And, after Jerry Garcia died in 1995, I came out to Humboldt County. I had a friend that was living out here. And so I came to visit her and just, fell in love with the area, the redwoods, and also the really deep cannabis culture in the community. And so my husband, Walter, and I moved here originally, honestly, because of the environmental activism that was going on here around protecting the old growth redwood forests. And after spending several years in the trenches doing that, we wanted to find some land of our own so that we could be more self-sufficient And so we found the farm that we're on now in 2001. And it kind of had everything we were looking for. We had done some permaculture training and kind of, had this list of these qualities that we were looking for in a property. So this place checked all those boxes, and we started farming and built a straw bale house, and doing that whole thing. And we always, I'm just like a hostessy person. I like to do it. My friends call me Mountain Martha Stewart. And so it's like that's just a part of who I am. And I love this area so much. So I love to show it off to people as well. And we kind of always wanted to do educational retreats and healing retreats, but we kind of thought like, well, we're gonna have to stop growing cannabis before we can just open the place up to the public. But then in 2018, when regulation came to California, it was like, oh, wait, actually, we can do both. We don't have to stop growing cannabis to have people. We can do both. And isn't that, honestly, aside from like getting people out of prison, that to me is one of the best parts about regulation is now we can openly share, this beautiful area with people who want to come check it out.
That's so awesome. Now, and, as we dive into more about the Soul Spirit retreats, there are different experiences and components to Soul Spirit retreats. Can you share more about them and what you offer at Soul Spirit retreats?
Of course. Yeah. So, the simplest offering is that you can just book a tent, just like booking an Airbnb. You can just book a tent, figure out when you want to come. I do include farm to table meals in all of the reservations because that's the way we like to eat, and we like to provide food from the farm for our guests, but also because we're kind of out in the middle of nowhere and your food options are a little bit limited. So for me, it works the best to it's an all-inclusive experience. And so it includes your farm tour. Walter has been, growing cannabis for 25 years, and he knows a lot of stuff. So he can just talk for a long time all about it. And he loves doing that. So that's the basic thing is you can just book by the night. And then I also, for people who want to book for a group, you can book the entire space. So I have six bell tents, and each of them will fit up to 2 people. So if you have a group of up to 12 people, you can book the space for your yoga retreat or like a team retreat. I've had some cannabis companies come up and do their team retreats, and those are always fun. And then this summer, for the first time, I'm kind of dabbling into producing my own retreats and tours. And so this summer, I'm doing a Canna Mom retreat, as you mentioned, because I just found that, moms who like weed get a lot of flack, and it's ridiculous. It's like, oh, you can all drink all the wine you want and we're all cool with that, but you can't smoke a little weed. And, that is not okay. And so part of it is like, okay, let's all come together. It's, one beautiful thing about the Emerald Triangle community is we've all completely normalized cannabis for decades. It's like, this is just a part of the air we breathe. And, so there isn't that stigma here. And so I want women to know that it's not like that everywhere. And given time, we can all get to what it's like here, And so that one I'm super excited about. I'm teaming up with the wonderful Eliza Maroney, the cannabis yogi. She's going to come and do a lot of wonderful things. And then also Chia Rodriguez. If any of you have seen the film Ladybuds, which you definitely should if you haven't yet, she's one of the ladybuds in that. And she's going to do CBD facials and teach us about cannabis, like green leaf juicing. So it's just going to be a great weekend. I'm super excited about the Canna Mom retreat. And then the other tour that I'm doing that I'm also stoked about is called the Emerald Triangle Revealed Tour. And the purpose behind this is opening up the Emerald Triangle to people who want to come check it out. For decades, you really couldn't do that. Nobody was going to open up their farm to you because it was too dangerous for us. I think some people have seen, a show on Netflix that shall not be mentioned. And that is not the reality. I've had a lot of people be like, oh, is it super dangerous? And it's like, no, it isn't. Yeah. It's a beautiful community. We support each other. We all raise our kids on our farms. Yes, I'm sure there are things like that happen anywhere. But as a rule, this is not that, and so we just want to show off. It's myself. So there'll be a tour of Soul Spirit Farm. You stay at Soul Spirit Retreats for 3 nights. We go wine tasting at a local winery. We tour another farm that is larger than ours. So it's like an acre of craft cannabis in my neighborhood. And then also we go down into Southern Humboldt, and there's 2 nights at the Inn of the Lost Coast, which is this like oceanfront, amazing hotel in Shelter Cove. And there's 2 different farms down in Southern Humboldt, Huckleberry Hill Farm and Five Sisters Farm, that we'll have meals at and go on a redwood tour, float the river. It's just like all the things that we like to do here as locals, and just like really giving a personalized experience and kind of taking people under our wing and showing them all the cool stuff. So that one's going to be really fun.
Well, both of them are, I would feel like life-changing experiences. The first one with Canna Moms, you're bringing all these moms that maybe don't have that community, like you're saying, where they are. And, that's really going to be exciting to see that come to fruition for you all. And then too, seeing the whole, all those areas, I'm like, that's an amazing trip. Like you're from your farm to the hotels, to the other farms, to the winery, like it's very amazing. And if you all are interested in learning more about these, I'm going to put the website back up on the screen so you can find out at soulspiritretreats.com. And she'll have all that information on the site. So definitely recommend checking that out. Now, I know initially we started the show and I already commended you for all the work that you're doing for this plant. And I really do mean it, and for the community. The show is all about events and tourism, but the truth is with our farmers, you all are the ones who have like laid the foundation, for this plant. And 2, we're also still and have been getting hit the hardest. What advice do you have for other farmers out there, and how can the industry continue to make sure that we don't lose the heart of this plant and of the community?
Yeah, well, I really appreciate you asking that because, it is hard in California right now for small farmers. And, it is, there's sort of a huge loss that is occurring right now as we speak. And so, first and foremost, if you are in California and you would like to keep regeneratively farmed small batch craft cannabis available in the market, what you must do is buy from small farm brands. Like, period. That is what you have to do. You have to support us. Look for brands that are owned by the farmers themselves. There are a lot of them. If you don't see something like that in your dispensary, ask for it, because the shops have to know that people want it, that they don't just want the cheapest weed that they can get in the shiniest package, because that, unfortunately, is kind of the perception, is that all anybody wants is the best deal they can get. So support small farms. We're all doing good things for the planet. And so by buying our flower, you are actually like making a good environmental choice. So like right off the bat, there's that. If you want to, if you're not in California, then you can come visit us, and come check it out. You can support us with your tourism dollars, and then in your own states, advocate for people to be able to grow their own medicine. a lot of states, they're kind of like shying away from that. They don't want people to have it in their backyard because of the smell, whatever. But ultimately, like, all of that stuff is so misguided. Like, the way that the government looks at cannabis is ridiculous. It is a plant. It is normal. It is not dangerous, period. The only thing that made it dangerous was it being illegal. And so, we all just have to speak up. I don't know that much about small farm communities in other states, but I know they do exist. I know in Michigan and in upstate New York, there are small farms. And it's like, do you really want cannabis that was grown in like a,
like a
100
Walmart, like a big,
you don't want that. The quality that you're going to get. And the craziest thing right now in the market, it is so crazy, but like craft or beyond organic flower is cheaper than indoor corporate weed right now. Like, so you can't go support your small farm brands, because not only is it better for you and the planet, but it is also a good deal right now. I think if you think about the way food works or coffee or any of that, it's like usually you're going to pay a premium for craft organic products. And for whatever reason right now, which I don't understand, that's not the way it is in cannabis. I hope that's going to change. But right now you can get a really good deal on amazing flower by supporting small farm brands.
Yes. Yes. Well, and that's the thing, when I, now I'm in Arizona and I don't want to say nothing too bad about Arizona cannabis. Like, it's still good, but there's nothing like the sun grown farm, like straight from the farmer, cannabis. When I last saw you, it was at the Emerald Cup Awards, and, it was just being able to experience that again. It's been a while since we had, sun grown, outdoor, amazing quality cannabis like that. And so it's something that I do miss. I have to go back to California more often. So that I can also support them, support you all, but also because I miss it. I miss that flower.
Right. Yeah. And I guess, also like pushing for interstate commerce and federal legalization is the other thing. Because once we can move our, it's like, this is a finite resource. There's only so much Emerald Triangle craft cannabis to go around, right? Yeah. Once we can move it out of California, there isn't going to be enough, so like start that relationship now, and hopefully soon we will be able to move it all over to where people want it, instead of being stuck in California only.
I mean, it's happening outside of the US. Now, if we could at least do it within the states to start, then, at least. So hopefully, those are the conversations that definitely need to happen. So now going back to events as a whole, and obviously you have a passion for bringing people together in that community and all that, but why do you think events as a whole play a pivotal role for the plant and for the industry?
Yeah, well, it's that normalization thing again, when we can all get together in, public or private, but in groups, and consume cannabis, it makes it normal for people, and you recognize that, oh yeah, everybody does this, So I think that there's that. I think it's like a cultural thing too, for us to like come together as a community. For a lot of us small farmers, we never used to leave the farm. I never went anywhere to sell my cannabis. Someone showed up and bought it from me. I didn't have to go anywhere. So it's fun actually to get out and get to meet our actual customers, that end up using it. So I like to do events outside as well, because they're fun. They're just fun, and cannabis is a part of it and makes it more fun. And, who doesn't need a little more fun in their life right now?
Exactly. Well, and most recently in California, now now farmers can participate in cannabis farmers markets too, right? So that's another
it's like in the works.
Okay.
I'm not sure the legislation has actually passed, but yes, if we get that is going to be amazing.
That's
There's models. Like, so what I'm talking about, there is some legislation that's going through that would allow us to just like sell directly. Right now, the farmers markets that are happening are having to kind of like pair up with a retailer who then can kind of sell it over here in this corner while we have our booths over here, which is great.
yeah.
That's still better
Just
than nothing, but
yeah.
it's, there is some legislation that would actually allow us to just sell our own product directly, which would be amazing.
That would be okay. Well, I will definitely keep my ear out for that to to see how that goes. But that is exciting to hear. And like you said, at least something's happening right now. But once it gets to that next level, it will be amazing. So, with these events that you have hosted in the past, what are some of the challenges that you have faced so that other event organizers can maybe learn from a tip or two that you've experienced?
Oh, well, I think it's a lot of the same challenges of cultivating cannabis too. It's like insurance,
Yeah.
banking, the ability to do advertising on normal channels. Like those are really the main things that I find they're like big things that are kind of overarching in the whole industry. Luckily in Trinity County where I am, Trinity has not chosen to regulate cannabis tourism any differently than regular tourism. And so as long as I'm following all of the like security rules for the farm, it doesn't affect my tourism and I can be just like an Airbnb without, there's not a big worry about the cannabis. But insurance is nearly impossible to get, and so there's that, these tours, the Emerald Triangle Revealed tour, even though it's going to be amazing, we're having a little bit of a hard time getting the word out about it because, I snuck in an Instagram ad and got away with one, and then I tried to do another one and they were like, nope, this is against our community guidelines. And so just those are the main things that I find are like those big overarching cannabis silly regulations are the things.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, hopefully there's multiple people watching that can, that are interested in learning about, and even if you can't attend, pass on the word, pass on the word with others that might be interested in something like this. Go to the website, share the information. These are great experiences. Others are ready to go out there and, just supporting by cross promotion. And again, word of mouth. So anybody listening, share. Let's tell everybody about it.
Yes, please.
Yeah. Now, whether it's for specifically, actually, no, yeah, for more of the upcoming events, how else can people maybe get involved, or how can they help out? Maybe outside of spreading the word, are there other ways they can get involved with these upcoming events?
Well, I'm definitely looking for people who are interested in booking their own retreats, like if you are a yoga teacher or you have a group of girlfriends that you like to travel with, those kinds of things, like you can totally do that. I basically take care of all of the details for you. You just have to decide when you want to come. So things like that, that's definitely a great way. You can check out, there's a couple of mom groups, like Canna mom groups on Instagram, like the High Society of Mamas and the Canna Mom Gang. You can, for those, like those are great support groups for people who are looking for that. And, through that, you can definitely come to the retreat, find some sister friends, that then you can keep in touch with when you go home. And so.
That's awesome. Well, I love that. I think that's an awesome opportunity. And so one thing just to share with you, Judi, we actually are seeing an uptake in the interest for retreats. So hopefully that is a good sign, whether it's an event producer that's listening, that is thinking of hosting a retreat, or someone that is interested in attending one like the ones you are hosting. And then I actually just wanted to make a comment. I'm going to put it up on screen. So we have Joshua Caruso. He says he loves Soul Spirit Farms. And then we got Moritz, who agreed with the comment about the retreats. So there's interest there.
Thanks,
Now,
Joshua. That's great to hear.
Now we're going to go transition into the article component. So for those that are new here, we have Judi joining us from Soul Spirit Retreats and Soul Spirit Farms. We had our interview segment. So if you missed it, feel free to rewind and you can check out the interview. But now we're going to move towards the article component. So I'm going to read an overview of an article, and Judi and I will discuss it a bit before the end of the show. So the article is about cannabis tourism. We've all been seeing the latest trends and seeing how there's been a lot more conversation around tourism, which is great because it's actually showing how cannabis is making an impact, and cannabis tourism specifically is making an impact in all these other cities that are welcoming it. It goes into talking about how it is becoming a trend, and after post-pandemic, people are looking at different methods, or how they were looking at different methods during the pandemic to consume cannabis. So there was an uptake in this cannabis consumption. And now that things are opening up, now they're ready to travel and go experience this in different ways. The article also dives in and gives some data points, which it says that the MMGY Travel Intelligence has revealed that 29% of leisure travelers have an interest in cannabis-related tourism. There's also been a study by the Dutch government, and they expose that 58% of international tourists do opt to travel to Amsterdam in order to experience the cannabis experience that they have over there. And of course, the Dutch coffee shops as well. It also goes into stating that, in these other areas where it wasn't, last year specifically, it says Illinois legalized recreational cannabis in January 2022, and almost 30% of sales were from people who didn't live there. So again, people are willing to travel to these other areas to experience cannabis in some sort of way, or they're traveling there and they're like, we're here, might as well. We also have an update that, Thailand has confirmed it's legalized cannabis as well, in the hope that it will help with tourism. So not only is the US seeing this spike, and Amsterdam, which we've all known about Amsterdam for many years, but other countries are now opening up and changing. Thailand. For some reason, I didn't expect that to happen so soon, but that one came on board. So, as it dives in, it keeps going into the different types of tourism. We've talked about farm tours, the beds and breakfasts, the hotels, there's city tours, there's festivals, you can go hiking, cannabis pairing dinners and things of that sort. Now, outside of that, it definitely gives a great overview. But Judi, after you checking out the article, what were your thoughts on this? I'm sure you can relate to a lot of it. You agree, you're seeing it. But yeah, what were your thoughts?
Yeah, well, the part about Illinois I thought was kind of interesting. I'm an Illinois girl. I grew up in the suburbs of Chicago, and I was laughing when I read that part because it's like, yeah, that's probably a lot of people from Indiana and the surrounding states, coming in. I know people who do that all the time, and it's just like a reminder to those states that have not legalized yet. It's like, get with the program, people, federally too, like,
so true.
This is a thing that you're missing out on because you're back in the dark ages with this, but I mean, I absolutely believe that cannabis tourism right now is a thing, right? Like Napa is not that far from me, it's a few hours south. And, I think that they actually make more money from tourism in Napa than they make from wine, is what I've read. And, what I want, and kind of part of my mission with this whole thing, is like the Emerald Triangle should be to cannabis what Napa or Bordeaux in France are to wine, and there's no reason that cannot happen. We of course want to manage it in a way that preserves our culture and, the natural beauty that's here. We don't want it to be like Disney World, but it's like a place that everybody should see once in their life. The redwoods are incredible. The river, it's beautiful. If you live in a city, you need to get out and come up here and check it out. So I think all these different countries right now, the cannabis tourism is huge. What I think is interesting, is a place that maybe doesn't have a historical place in the cannabis industry like the Emerald Triangle. It'll be interesting to see what happens over time, because as cannabis gets normalized, like, well, what's the big deal? It's like, great, we can go to this place. If you are someone who likes to partake of cannabis, yes. Are you going to check out a hotel where you can like live your normal life and do that when you travel? Of course you are, so hotels should be offering this to people, but it'll be interesting to see if like, are people traveling to Illinois specifically for cannabis when they can get it in Indiana and Ohio, and maybe that'll go. Absolutely. And it's something that these governments should take note of, because why would you not take advantage of that?
Yeah. Well, and so Moritz, he actually said that Germany is also considering cannabis tourism too. So that's interesting to hear as well. But no, I think you do bring a valid point. That will be interesting as these other, I mean, do you think Indiana will, is it on the ballot? I don't know too much about Indiana right now. So,
I don't know. My family lives there. I have some family there. They travel to Illinois to get cannabis because, I was really surprised. Indiana actually legalized gay marriage like way before some other states, which totally shocked me, because that is not what you think of when you think of Indiana.
yeah.
So who knows? Maybe they'll surprise us on cannabis too and come around to it sooner rather than later,
Yeah, that'll be interesting. But you're right, the numbers will start to change and we'll start to see some new insights into how, cannabis is really affecting them. So, but I think it goes back to those unique experiences, how you're thinking out of your retreats, of what that whole thing looks like. It's going to allow some of these businesses to get creative in how they're bringing people and what's going to be their differentiator. Like looking at lounges, a lot of people in the beginning said Vegas or California were going to be big, which they will. But now that New York's talking about it, I feel like New York might be like, that's where you go for cannabis lounges. You really go to experience it,
No, and I think that's true, because if you think about what, like a living situation in New York is tiny, it's apartments, a lot of places aren't going to want people smoking in their apartments. So like, I can see where that would be completely true, that, based on just lifestyle there.
Yeah.
And there's tons of tourists that come to New York for all kinds of reasons already. And great, now they can just add going to a cannabis lounge to their whole experience,
Sure.
So for sure. And it's, up here, well, I think like agritourism in general, and one of the things that we're pushing for is to just be recognized as farmers. That's all we're doing. We're farming. It's a totally like, it's just like a wholesome activity. It's not in need of all of this regulation. And so it's like people are doing all kinds of farm stays at all kinds of farms. And we just want it to be the same for cannabis.
I love that. Yeah. We actually had one down here and it was all about it's similar into kind of the vision. It's not cannabis, but they were all about sustainable and eco-friendly. And, when we got there, it was just everything. They were teaching you as you're staying with them, they'll teach you little tricks and how to live more sustainably. They were building huts out of clay that they're going to start renting out for people. The water for the sinks and the showers, was all reusable. I don't know the correct terminology, but it went, into the filtration, watered the plants, did all the, all the things for the farm. It is there, like you said, it's happening in other areas, and it's not just around cannabis farming. So that was pretty cool. We do have Bill Smith who said hello. Hi,
Bill.
But now, Judi, we are coming to the end of the show. I wanted to thank you for joining us and just wanted to give you a chance to kind of just give one more final, how can people connect with you? And yeah, let them know where they can go.
Yes, absolutely. Please do reach out. I love to hear from all kinds of different people. And my website for the glamping retreats is soulspiritretreats.com. And that's just SOL, like the sun. No U in there. So soulspiritretreats.com. If you're looking for the Canna Mom or the Emerald Triangle Revealed Tour, you want to go to soulspiritretreats.com/events, because that's where those are. And then my Instagram is also Soul Spirit Retreats. And our farm website is soulspiritfarm.com. And that has all kinds of information about the flower that we have available and our farming practices and all the things we're trying to do with our packaging and everything to just be more sustainable. So you can check that out as well. And it also tells you where you can go to buy our flower. So
there we go. Again, to support them, you got to go buy it, and you're not going to be disappointed. You're not going to be disappointed at all. So, well, thank you again, Judi, just for this amazing conversation, just shedding some insight and light into, what you're doing, but also talking about the farming component of it, which is important that we still need to, like you said, we just need to have these conversations. So with that being said, thank you again, Judi. And I hope to talk to you and hopefully see you soon.
Yes. Thanks, Adelia. Thanks so much for having me on.
You're welcome. All right, everyone, we are almost done with the show. So next week's guest is Parisa Mansouri-Rad. She's the president of 420 Collections and co-founder of Blunt Brunch. Also, as usual, we highlight an event of the week. And this week's event is called Kind Bud Campout 2022. Kind Bud Campout focuses on music, cannabis, and hash tasting. It says, calling all cannabis and hash enthusiasts. The gathering will be a combination of music, education, and legal safe cannabis consumption. They will have performances, including sets by Kind Bud and the Joints, featuring Papa Molly and Matt Hubbard, Bobby Vega, and Wally Ingram, who will be performing a very special Garcia Hunter set at their exclusive West Coast performance. Along with these legendary performers, they're going to have singer and songwriters Sharita Perez and positive reggae artist Junior Toots will grace the stage. Guests can also participate in their late night open mic sesh as well, and also the storytelling of outlaw storytelling, real tales from behind the redwood curtain. To learn more, you can go to eventhi.io and in the search bar type in Kind Bud Campout. With that being said, we look forward to seeing you next Thursday, and stay safe, stay healthy, and stay high. Bye.